Do you know what's so cool? That's the moon. What happens to your body when you have no daylight for 2.5 months? Living in the northernmost town, this is something we experience every winter during our polar night. So this polar night, I made it my mission to find out how my body reacted to this period of no sunlight. And I documented my moods and did blood work both before and after this extreme season. So let's find out what happened to my body after 2.5 months of no daylight. But first, if you're new to my channel or just want to recap, let's start from the beginning. And also, if you want to subscribe, I would highly appreciate it. Living in the world's northernmost town is nothing short of spectacular. Longyearbyen and Svalbard is the last stop before the North Pole, and living so far north, 78 degrees to be exact, we get to see some of the world's natural wonders in our everyday lives. The magical northern lights, polar bears in their natural habitat, glaciers, and the beauty of the Arctic. But living this far north also comes with its own set of struggles. We have very extreme seasons, and not only in temperature, but also in daylight. From October to February, we experience polar night. This is the time of year when the sun doesn't come above the horizon at all, leaving us in total darkness for months, 2.5 months to be exact. For 2.5 months, we have no daylight whatsoever. It is the darkest of nights. So, how does this affect us? What happens to our bodies when we go without daylight for that long? This polar night, I decided to find out a bit more about it and what happens to my body living in the darkness. I usually take a few days here and there to travel to the mainland during the polar night, but this time of year I decided to do the polar night all in one go, and the results were shocking. So to start this story, we need to jump back to a dark and snowy day in January. Good morning, Dean. Good morning for me and Grim. It's 9 in the morning. It's not, that shouldn't be early, but it's early to me. Look, it's dark outside. I'm gonna go to the hospital and get blood work done. Yes. Dude, he's not gonna get sold out. So I have to be there in 20 minutes. So I have to go now. So I'm gonna get blood work done. I'm bringing a coffee. I'm gonna work out after. So I'm wearing workout gear. And I have to go. There's so much. Always look around and check out what you've got. Christopher has walked past a polar bear before because he was in a rush. Since I'm from Sweden and grew up with long, dark winters, the effects a dark winter can have on your body is something I was aware of before moving to Svalbard. A common side effect of a dark winter is vitamin D deficiency, but this time of year is also tougher on many people's mental health. One thing that I really noticed during this polar night is that I struggled more mentally than I've ever done any of the previous winters. I even experienced anxiety for the first time in my life, which was eye-opening for me. Today's video is sponsored by BetterHelp in honor of Mental Health Awareness Month. May is a month to raise awareness about mental health, fight stigma, and provide support for anyone struggling with their mental health. It's also about advocating access to mental health care, and this has long been one of BetterHelp's goals. BetterHelp does a great job assessing your needs and matching you with your own licensed therapist, and they have over 20,000 therapists on their platform. They offer customized online therapy that includes video, phone, and even live chat sessions with your therapist, so you don't even have to see anyone on camera if you don't want to. You just fill out a questionnaire to help assess your specific needs, and then you get matched with a therapist in under 48 hours. My favorite part about BetterHelp is that it gives me access to help that I can't really get otherwise living so remote. BetterHelp is kindly offering my community 10% off your first month of therapy when you go to betterhelp.com/Blomdahl. That is betterhelp.com/Blomdahl. This Mental Health Month, if you or someone you know is struggling, please share BetterHelp with them. And thank you so much for being here. So here we are at the hospital in Longyearbyen to take some blood tests to see what my vitamin D levels are after 2.5 months of complete darkness. We have one hospital in town and it is located on the main street. So let's take a look at my levels before going into the polar night so we know where I started. What's a good level of vitamin D seems to not be fully agreed upon by all studies, but according to our hospital, my number should be within 50 to 150 to be normal. I did blood work at the hospital in town in June of 2021. At that point, after a few months of sunshine, I was at 39, so it was low even then. I hadn't been super strict about taking my supplement and wasn't paying enough attention to the vitamin D levels in my diet at that point, so I wasn't very surprised. But then during the summer last year, I went to Portugal and I spent a lot of time laying out in the sun, and I also made sure to load up on vitamin D through my food, and I managed to raise my vitamin D levels to normal levels. They didn't give me a number on this scale after doing blood work there, but let's assume normal would be around 70 for me on this scale. So now I'm back at the hospital after 2.5 months of darkness, after being on a strict supplements and diet to see where my levels are at. Since we have universal healthcare working on Svalbard as it is a part of Norway, this visit cost me next to nothing. In total, I think I paid around 140 Norwegian kroners, which is around 15 euros or 15 US dollars. And that was for a checkup as well as blood work, which is great and so cheap. I also got the appointment within about a week of booking. At this hospital, we also have our dentist and physio. You can get the most basic medical care here, but for any surgeries or emergencies or like specialized treatment, you will be sent to the mainland. After I was done at the hospital, I also had to quickly stop by the pharmacy to pick up some things, so I thought I would show you what it looks like. It is also located on the main street, about 200 meters away from the hospital, in the little shopping center. We only have the one pharmacy in town, and this is the only place where you can buy medication. And they also have a great selection of skincare. Hi guys, it is Cecilia from the future. I've wanted to make this video for such a long time, but it took a while to just kind of get all of the footage, get all of the hospital visits, and also kind of like digest how did this polar night go? What is the differences I'm feeling? And I think after I went to Portugal, where I just was, I really felt like, okay, I can see such a big difference in how I feel after, you know, a bit more sunshine and getting out of the, you know, winter and everything. And I felt like, okay, I can make this video now because I really know how I think it affected me, you know? And I look back at all of my videos and I can also see, like from the start of the polar night, kind of how you can see my moods really go down. And I remember also reading it in the comments, like, are you tired? And I was like, it's not that bad. But after watching it now, I'm like, I was so tired. And I thought we would talk a little bit more about like the effect of a vitamin D deficiency and why I am so like interested in like checking on what my levels are all the time. So common signs of vitamin D deficiency in adults is muscle fatigue, it can be mood changes, weakness also, even weight gain, because it all kind of works together, you know, it affects your life in a way where, let's say you're so fatigued, you don't want to move as much as you did before, you're too tired to go to work out, there comes the weight gain. So I think it has a possibility to really do a lot to your daily life. That's what at least I felt during the polar night when I was just, you know, tired all the time. Vitamin D is very important for your body to function properly, especially because it helps in your bone, building bones and your bone strength. Also, what is so interesting is that I read a study, I will quote everything below as well so you can read it, and that one said that about like 20% of Americans are deficient and 40% of Europeans are said to be deficient in vitamin D. And vitamin D affects so many different areas of your life. So maybe you're thinking, oh, you know, why am I so tired, or why do I feel like this? It could be low vitamin D. Like Christopher, he was feeling so tired. He was going to bed like straight after work every day and he was taking naps. This was last year. And I said, we have to go and check your levels. He was at 23 on the scale of vitamin D, where 50 to 150 is good. So he was on 23, which explained everything. They're like, oh my gosh, you have to take a lot of supplements because you're feeling this, like, because of this. I realized that the sun isn't enough to get vitamin D in most cases, and that you should take supplements because it is the easiest way to make sure that you are getting enough. So I think that was really interesting. I've been taking supplements take it all year round. And I do the dose of 4,000 IUs, I think it's called, which is like not the maxed. I think I can even take 8,000, they told me. Maybe I should do that. Maybe I should do what they told me. Just load it up. But you can also get it through salmon. Also, like things like soy milk, it's added to it, so it's not naturally in there, but they add vitamin D, which is quite interesting. I think it's that herring, maybe not your choice. Canned tuna, could be better. It also said, oh, cod fish liver oil. That is one that is very common in Norway because kids take it on a spoon in the morning and drink it. It's so common. But so there's a lot of different ways to get it into your diet, but definitely add it because it makes a difference. But apart from just the vitamin D, if I look back at this polar night, I was quite shocked by how this one affected me. And I think why this one made such a big difference is because almost every single other one I've left to go to the mainland for a few days here and there, or, you know, for a week. And that is kind of like breaking up this very long darkness. So it doesn't feel that heavy on you. This winter, I was here the entire time. I also had a lot bigger workload than I ever had before, which is great because it was all of this YouTube stuff, but I think I was very stressed and kind of nervous about it. So that also played a big role. So as much as it, of course, isn't only the darkness, it is more that the darkness kind of trapped me in all of my stress, I think. So I experienced anxiety for the first time. I usually say that my brain or my mental headspace is usually extremely sunny. I wake up and it's sunshine in there. And for these days when I experienced anxiety and I understood how that feels, I was kind of like, not shocked is not the right word, but I was so overwhelmed. You know, when you kind of need to experience something to understand it, that's how it was for me. And I thought that was quite scary. And I just think that mental health is such an important subject. That's why I think like May is a mental health awareness month is so important, and why I'm so happy to work with BetterHelp on this video. But so that was definitely a first for me this winter. Like I said, all of this isn't 100% just the darkness, but when you take away the most normal thing for most people, you take away daylight, I think your body kind of, everything else becomes very big. So I think I learned from this polar night that I need to be a bit more prepared mentally, but and also make sure to kind of not get trapped in the darkness. Before we continue this, let's check back to when I got my results. This is quite funny. The hospital here kind of forgets about you. And they're like, we'll let you know. I think it had been a month, and I'm like, nobody's let me know, so I'll just call them. And then the receptionist will tell you your results, like whatever it is. They're like, yeah, so this is what it was. I'm like, okay, so let's check that out.
Ja, precis. Okej, så med vitamin D är på 49, så den är precis på gränsen och den ska vara mellan 50 och 150. Så jag har lite lågt vitamin D då. All right, tusen tack. Ha det. Hej. Did you hear that, Christopher? This is so fascinating. I'm at 49 and a good level is like 50 to 150. So it's not like it's terrible, but she's like, I wouldn't be surprised if you're a little bit tired. I'm like, are you kidding me? I'm like sleepy central. So she's like, yeah, you need to go to the pharmacy and get some vitamin D. I'm like, I've been eating vitamin D. Literally haven't missed a dose. But it's very fascinating with the vitamin D thing. I'm literally shocked. Okay, so now you saw that I had a result of 49. So I was just under 50, which is the normal limit. Quite interesting, because I had been taking these pills religiously every day. The dose that they said, I even maxed it at that point. I had been thinking about my food. I had been eating so good. I had been working out, you know, everything. And still this fatigue and this anxiety and everything probably came a little bit from the whole picture. So I thought that was very interesting. I learned a lot about myself this polar night, and also about how I will go into this other polar night that is coming in a few months. But before then, we have 4 months of midnight sun. So that is a whole different season altogether, which I will have to, you know, talk about in a different video. But yeah, so this polar night, I had low vitamin D, I had anxiety, I definitely gained a little bit of weight, which I don't know if it comes from the fact that I ate cinnamon buns every day during December. So I'm pretty sure I cannot blame that on this, but I would if I could. Fatigue, cloudy brain, which might to you seem so like obvious that it would happen, but I mean, I've done 6 polar nights up here. This was my 6th. So for me, the side effects of this polar night were shocking, because again, I've never experienced anxiety, and that was like, is debilitating the right word? Debilitating. So now is my time to get super strong again, and I'm very excited about that. I will obviously eat good and work out and try to work less, but also put out more videos, because I missed you guys. As you can see, I was in Portugal and I got a little bit of a tan. My nail girl, she looked at me when I came to do my nails and she said, haven't you been on vacation? I'm like, yes. She's like, why are you so pale? I'm like, thank you. That's very kind of you. I worked on this for 3 weeks. Also, another thing, I got hyperpigmentation now that I was in Portugal. Can I blame the polar night? Probably can. My porcelain skin hadn't seen the sun for so long that it just went. So I'm like a pancake. I've got the pretty cool patterns going on. But you know what? I feel sun-kissed. Subscribe if you like this video. Okay, I'm gonna let you guys go. I hope this video was interesting. And I love you guys. And thank you so much for being here. I'll see you in the next video. I'll show you some views before we go, or after, with some beautiful music. So enjoy the Svalbard views of right now, and you'll know that this was just a day or 2 ago before I posted this video. This was like the day before. How crazy. Smooches. This is so gorgeous. There are geese over there and also reindeer. It's a zoo out here. But look, I'm gonna leave you out with this for a moment, so soak it all in. Just listen to nature.